Hi, everyone. Welcome to Bonnie's 2023 Spring Series on Perception as a Key to Embodying and Repatterning the Nervous System. Thank you all for being here. It's incredible to be back together again in these live classes. We have a wonderful mix of participants who have joined us in past live online series and a whole group of new people who are joining us for the first time. Let us know in the chat if you've joined Bonnie for any of her past online series, if so, which ones, or if this is your first time joining her. It takes a team to make Bonnie's online classes work. We're going to take just a couple of minutes to introduce everyone who is in front of the camera as well as behind the scenes. My name is Basha. I'm the project manager for Bonnie's books, videos, and events. I'm also Bonnie's daughter. We have Bonnie and Len. You want to say who you are, Len? Okay. Len is Bonnie's husband. He's the administrative director of the School for Body Mind Centering, and he's working behind the camera today. We have Isa.
Hi, everybody. I'm Isa, Bonnie and Len's son, Basha's brother. I'm the administrator. Thank you for taking the time to be with us, and we're looking forward to sharing with you.
And Amardeep.
Hello, everybody. My name is Amardeep. I'm event IT support for Body Mind Centering based in New York City, and I'm very happy class is back in session.
Great. It's wonderful to be back together again. In addition to hosting this class on Zoom, we are simultaneously broadcasting it on YouTube Live. If you experience any issues in Zoom or you don't want to see the Zoom chat pop-ups, please go to the class on YouTube Live. I'll post a link to the YouTube Live class in the chat in just a moment. You can also find that link in the same email that has your Zoom link. If you have not already introduced yourself in the chats, please take a moment to do so now. We love to know who you are and why you've come to join this course. We open class about 30 minutes early so that we have a little bit of time to mingle in the chat before class starts. If you'd like to join us for this pre-class time together, we will be doing that for the rest of the classes as well. For those of you attending the class in Zoom, at the bottom of the screen, you have an icon called chat and one called Q&A. If you have questions for Bonnie about the material she's presenting in class, please type it into the Q&A.
You have to do it from this side.
If you are joining on YouTube Live, you can post your questions in the chat there. Bonnie will take some time towards the end of class to respond to as many questions as she can. In Zoom, in addition to posting your questions in the Q&A, you can also post your questions in the chat to share with other participants to read and possibly respond from their experience. The Zoom chat will be made available for all participants of the series. We do have a few guidelines for the chat. The chat is a space for sharing your experiences, thoughts, and questions about the material Bonnie is presenting. Promoting your classes, events, or services in the chat is not permitted. The Zoom chat will be enabled for the entire class. As I mentioned, if you don't want to see the Zoom chat pop-ups, you can go to the class and YouTube Live. We want to acknowledge everyone, all of you. We just acknowledged the team behind the scenes, but here you are also behind the scenes. We don't see or hear you, but we feel you here with us. We have had people register from 80 countries, covering 6 continents, and it's an amazing thing to be connected to each other in this way, in this extraordinary circle around the earth. Our Pay from the Heart Scholarship has allowed more than 2,000 people to register for this course, and we're very, very grateful for all of you that have heard the call and come to join us for it. We put a map together of what 80 countries looks like visually. We'll put it on the screen in just a moment. take a minute to feel how we are all here together in this moment, in this time, circling the earth. And share with everyone in the chat which of the 80 countries you're from. Thank you, Amardeep. And let's start class. Here's Bonnie.
I'm so very moved. Thank you for coming. We hear so much about our struggles, and yet we're one people circling the sun another round. Our circle of peace. May we have a circle of peace within us and among us. I missed you. Glad to be back. And welcome to the new people. Welcome. And if you're here in this moment, but you're always here in this moment. We're always alive. It's difficult to say, but we are here. I have a tissue here, excuse me. Let's take a moment and I need that tissue again. Sorry. Take a moment and we can feel ourselves and feel this moment with each other. I was cold, now I'm kind of hot. I'd like to begin this series with the weight of consciousness. What does that mean, the weight of consciousness? Something different for each of us, but somehow gathering around it. If you can find something in your environment that has weight, it could be a book. I have a couple of things here. Heavy. I'll start with a heavy old book, Gray's Anatomy. It has a lot of weight. We looked at weight sometime in the last 2 years. That would be heavy. I have a stone, a rock from the garden. If you were here, I would give each of you a rock. But you have rocks where you are. So I have a substantial rock, not a boulder, but a rock. I have here a beautiful inkstone from China, Taiwan. Ganesh. Different things that I like to hold. So this is a paperweight painted by one of my teachers. And I have a tiny Ganesh. So look around your space. It could be a book. I didn't bring one of my stuffed animals, but it could be that. There's a very big weight here. Gather something of different weights for the weight of consciousness. So I'm going to move this back. While you're gathering stuff. You have something? So with your hand, I'm going to suggest your left hand. Doesn't have to be your left for any reason, like I would have more trouble with my right hand, but I'm going to suggest left. Put a weight, again, it could be a book, on your hand. And then close your eyes. And be open. In the back of the brain, for those of you who are new, the back of the spinal cord, sensory information comes in through the back of the nervous system. Motor comes out through the front. We'll go into that in more detail with the actual structures, but today is more just consciousness itself. So with your eyes closed, I don't want to keep getting up and down, but if you have things nearby, but take one of the things you are holding and just calibrate the weight of it. What do I mean by calibrating the weight? Feel the weight. Whatever that means. How do you know the weight of what you are holding? So you're not lifting it. You're not using your muscles to judge, although do that. You know, whatever I say, do the opposite. It's a good way to understand. So I could lift the weight. My muscles will tell me something else, a joint moving. But for now, calibrating weight in stillness. And again, in a practice, you put different weights, something lighter, heavier, and then take the weight, put it down, close your eyes, and can you still perceive the weight that you were holding? Do that several times where you take the weight, you put it in your hand. Your hand could be on a table, or if you're at a computer, or sitting away from the screen against your knee. So it's simply, as much as possible, just the weight. And where do you perceive the weight of what you are holding? Are you perceiving it in your head, in the front or the back, or your arm, or your torso, or your feet? Where is that weight registering? And then taking the weight, setting it down, and can you still feel the weight in your hand? I'm sorry, I can't see you. I can feel you. And play with that in your own timing. I'm slow. You might be quicker or slower. Now, as you move your hand, can you perceive the weight that was in your hand? Now move your other hand, and what's the difference? What did feeling the weight, your consciousness of weight, how does that affect? So we'll change sides. I wanted to start with the left, but we have two sides. It's great if you're able to type and do this, and it takes a lot of change of consciousness, multitasking. For those of you who can put it on the chat. Also, in the half hour before classes start, that's a time to also give feedback to me and to the whole community. It's great to have feedback because body-mind centering is based on community and our differences as well as our sameness. There's also email. Only I get that though. So same thing, place the weight. Close your eyes. The reason for closing your eyes is so that our vision is such a high priority for our nervous system that it will pull a lot of your consciousness, where with the eyes closed, the inner vision can help feel the weight. So give yourself time to absorb the weight, the consciousness of the weight, or the weight of the consciousness. In your own timing, take it away and then close your eyes. Can you still feel the weight? And I would say I have a very big difference between my hands, and my sense of weight is different. You may or may not have that difference. How much of the memory of the weight remains when you remove it? And how does that weight transfer through your body? Or does it? Because I'm not wanting to get up and down, I'm just using the one weight. But if you have a heavy weight and a light weight, that's a wonderful meditation, contemplation. I saw, Aki, you said a difference in vibration. Where do you perceive this weight? There's the weight of the object itself, and there's the memory of the transmission of that weight. So this isn't about focusing from the frontal lobe. This is about receiving information. The frontal lobe is a motor center. You do something. This is about absorbing and receiving more from the back. I keep opening my eyes and wanting to read the chat, but I'll read it after the class. I would like to say it. I'll say it actually. Could you call out, even though we can't hear you? You could hear yourself and the vibration, Aki. That was good to bring in the word vibration. What do you feel in a class where we're all in the same room? People would be calling out. But you could still call out. We can open to hear. I heard something, felt something. I have to do it one more time. I needed more input on my right side than my left due to an injury more than 70 years ago. How does that weight penetrate my whole body? It's a little slower. And then how do you move? Now I'm getting it. How does it move you through that sense of weight? So that I want to do more moving in my body. that weight into the floor. I'm going to back up a little bit. Where is that weight, the movement, the gelling of that weight? And I had 2 stones or 2 books, maybe slightly different weights. Play with it. I'm going to get something else here. I have is that an amethyst maybe? Stone anyway. This is lighter. And this is heavier. There's a weight and there's a lightness. And then maybe I switch. Now this has the weight and this has the lightness. So play with your own objects. This has more weight. Weight. Lightweight. Lightweight. Oh, wait. So if I just go like this with my muscle, I can't lift the book. I'm too old. But if I feel it moving through my body, disappear. Limon technique, those of you who know Limon, wait and rise, fall and wait, light. Thank you, Grace. So playing with weight of consciousness. I see you're writing, but I'm I'm telling myself to wait. So that consciousness of weight of consciousness move through. So with babies, it's important from the beginning, we give them things of different weight to play with, different shapes, textures. But right now we're looking at weight. And then we can pause. How do we calibrate? I mean, by calibrating, those of you who don't speak English as your a lot of weight in English. Calibrating is to measure very finely. It's not like this, but it has a calibrating sense. So calibrating space versus just calibrating space, calibrating time. But now we're looking at weight, light, and more weightedness. I'm actually going to move the ball and move a bit more. You perhaps do the same, where that weighted, the weight of the rock that I had is this for me. The weight of the crystal is this. So if I'm in the crystal weight, or I'm in the rock weight, or I'm in the book, the book weight. So playing with different weights versus just moving around. So take your time. and play with whatever. I have another littler thing. This little tiny Ganesh. I have to first feel it, learn from it. I was in a rock weight. I know, Carolyn, I saw your name come up in your vocal work. The little one is different. So here, can I be this light? It slowed me down, but could I be this light and quick? So the consciousness of weight and time versus a big heavy book. Book could be quick or slow. Okay, your turn to play. If I stop moving, you won't have anything to look at, so you can just play yourself for a little bit. With the weight of consciousness. I see, I didn't catch your name, but you said you feel resistance coming up. Do you know what an exercise band is? I don't think I have any handy here. I'd have to leave, but a stretchy band, elastic. If you feel resistance, then get one of those. I'm looking, I don't see one. One of those stretchy bands and stretch it. So that you can use your muscle resistance. So it's the weight of that, having played for years with bands. They're different resistance, and I'm thinking of the gray one, which is like a lot of resistance, or the yellow, which is not so resistive. So to know that resistance is good, it's just different. I'm looking. What do I have? Elastic. Little elastics are not so strong. It would be like this. When you said resistance, I feel my resistance. It's like, I have a lot of resistance. Not so much this. But I could play with that. I could take elastic or lycra material that you get a piece and then you sew it up so that you can put it over you, and then you play with your whole body in the lycra. We'll be looking at the nerves and resistance also, but today I'm wanting to look at how we are conscious of weight and the weight of consciousness. So play a bit and I'll watch. Can't see you, but I'm watching. I'm looking. I'm looking. I just read your message. Hi, Yon Kim. Glad to have you back again. Thanks for coming in the middle of the night in Korea. Are you having fun? For those of you who are new, I always hope that you learn from yourself, not from what I do. I share my own process, but you can't take my process. You have to find your own. And then as a community, we have this incredible diversity and recognition of it. You can also, I hesitate to say it now because it would take a very long time, but if you lie down and put the weight on your thoracic area or your belly or a leg, thigh or feet. So play around with, I'm going to get something here. Some of you already know Rosie. Rosie's my good helper. So you can, she's very flexible. You can maybe you have a real cat or a dog, or somebody's in the room with you, or you have a baby or a child. And feel the weight. The weight. I remember a couple of, well, it's more than a year now, maybe 2 years. Someone wrote and said they bought their first stuffed animal, either from Barney or Rosie. But feel the weight. Or if you have a child, little child, and you lie on the floor, or you have a cat or dog, and then they climb on your back and rest, or partner. So then from this experience of Rosie, thank you, Rosie, I can feel that in me, that calibrating of softness and weight. Do you have a stuffed animal or a real animal or a person or a baby? One of the problems, deep, deep problems of the pandemic was the lack of contact. And how we're coming back, even now, I hug you virtually on the screen, but in the circle I feel. It's not the same, but it's another gift. So I'm going to leave the ball. I'm backing up. I need a bigger screen to feel how that weight is different. So playing with texture and size. And in your torso, in your body, meaning this part of the body. It could be on your back. Could be a pillow. Most people have a pillow or a blanket folded. It's your homework for the week. Playing with the consciousness of weight, also texture. Hot water bottle is good. I just saw that. I didn't see your name, I'm sorry. But thank you for that. So that the hot water bottle on you, and then when you take it off, that heat and weight is in your consciousness. So one of the things that we do in body mind centering is we take a balloon and put water, warm water. It can be cold or warm. I like warm, but it gets cold. And then you tie it and you play with that weighted balloon. A big bag of rice. Alexandra, thank you. Sandbags. Or you can take a big garbage bag, but do at least two, one inside of the other, so it doesn't break. But yeah, make it stronger and secure it really well with hot, warm water. Then you can lie on this warm water bed, this plastic, and if it breaks, you get wet. So you get wet, and you have another experience of being wet. I hope I've given you enough suggestion for feeling your own possibilities. And I like that you're writing other suggestions. I can't think of everything. That's why we need everybody. I'm going to pause. I'm going to change in a moment. So come to some closure, your own experience. I'll put Rosie back. Okay. So now we'll explore the weight of consciousness outside of ourselves. So I'm going to ask that you face not the screen, but face away and see something that you're drawn to see. It could be you're looking out a window, which I have a little window there, or the table or lamp or whatever it is that you see. And focus on one thing, but don't just turn your head. Turn your whole body so that you're, as Aki mentioned earlier, your whole body has the vibration of the reception, not just your eyes. So see something, notice it, don't focus on it, just notice it. Even though it's in front of you, it comes in through the back of your brain. It comes through the vision into the back of your brain. And then close your eyes. And what do you remember? What did you absorb from whatever it was you were looking at? And I didn't say this. I don't know if anyone here has a limited vision, but you could also do this as a sound. It's a little bit different exploration. I'm going to leave that and say whatever vision you have, or it could be touch. You go and walk somewhere, or it could be nearby. It could be right nearby. You reach it, you feel it, you touch it. Close your eyes. What do you remember about it? So I'm using vision, but you could find another way. You could make a sound of some kind and then remember the sound. Someone else could make a sound. If you have more than one person in the room, then somebody else could make a sound. Play with different senses. But for now, it's to look and then close your eyes. And what do you remember? And then quickly open your eyes and close them to reinforce what you're looking at. And doing that several times and over a period of time, what do you remember about that something? Shape, color, size, what it is, shadow. Opening and opening to reinforce and closing. And when your eyes are closed, where do you perceive? When I say the weight, we did a weight exploration to feel that consciousness has weight. It's not just the object that has weight, but consciousness is the weight in your body. Are you perceiving that something in your body, in your head, or here I mean the whole body versus the torso? Or are you perceiving the weight in itself? I'm giving words to something that is pre-verbal. It's not about words. So if it's whatever that something is the weight of your consciousness in that something. Do you perceive it where it is, or do you perceive it as yourself perceiving it? Sounds like double talk. Is it in your body? Is it a frontal lobe? Is it your imagination, your image of it? Or if it's in your frontal lobe and image, could you throw it to the object so that you're conscious, you're aware of it where it is? Or you feel it in your whole body, perceiving that which is over there. So often, when we're troubled in particular, or not clear, maybe not troubled, we don't have to be troubled, everything is going on in our body. The weight of consciousness of that something, it doesn't exist in itself. So how can we exist in ourselves and be conscious of something that exists outside of us? So the weight that you were holding in your hands, in your movement, throw that weight into that object so that you are perceiving it from where it is. And then you could also take the weight back and you're actually perceiving it in yourself. And I think for some people, this might be difficult to understand what I'm saying. So those of you in the chat who have the experience, perhaps you can help with the translation or the transmission. So I'm going to go and pick up on that rock again. And you can pick up your object, one of your objects, one with that has weight. That little tiny one for me would be a little too subtle right now for what I want to say, or that big heavy book, if I want to pick it up, is feel the weight of it again. You feel the weight of it and then set it down. And can the weight of stay with it? So you can still feel the weight of it here in your body, but you can also feel the weight remains with the object. So you're confused. It's a very big leap. It's a very big leap. It's a very big practice. If I had not been confused, I wouldn't be able to know what it is that I'm wanting to transmit. It's the not knowing that creates the knowing. If we always know something, we can't really know it. An example, the universe is making noise. All of this cycling of planets, and I'm losing my language, meteorites, astro, whatever. All of these things, stars are exploding and disappearing and being born. We don't hear it because we never didn't hear it. Isn't that strange? So your confusion, if you can realize that's the seed of knowing something. So I happen to be someone who gets easily confused. I might say it more than once a day. It's my gift. Because I want to know what I haven't experienced. So if you can take your object and instead of having it be through space, an object, take your held object, feel the weight of it, and put the weight of it on the ground. Maybe if I can be seen better, Lynn, if you'll make the camera so the object, when I place it on the ground, can be seen, please. Thank you. So I have this weight. So that's the first thing. Do you feel the weight? And then can you stuttering a little bit. So easy to do it with the words. Can you feel that weight transferring through your body, the consciousness of the weight? And the consciousness changes the way that you move. And then you feel the weight, has to probably have enough weight, different weight for different people. Although if you're very weak, then you have a very light weight. So that as I set this down on the ground, on the floor, I leave the weight of the rock in the rock. And I feel that it transmitted to me a weight. But I don't put this down as though it didn't have weight. I feel the weight. You have your object. And when you put it down, you leave the weight in it. so that that weight, it has weight. And it transmitted its weight to me so that I feel that weight in my body. And if I'm going to pick it up again, I know how much weight it is. Where if I never picked it up, I wouldn't know. It might just be a paper image of the rock. Maybe somebody they made a little sculpture out of, you know, when you take an object and you do something to make it, I don't know, I want to say oily or something, I'm not sure that's right, but then you make a paper mache with paper and glue and water. I did this, you know, more than 70 years ago. And then you you cover it with this paper mache, this glue or wheat and water. And then when it dries, you make a cut and you open it up, and then you can, it's empty in the middle, and then you glue it back together and paint it or whatever. It could look like the rock, and I go to pick it up and it's so light. What would be the difference between the sculpture of this and how much does it weigh? So that when I put it down, I can conceive of its weight outside of myself. And if there was a paper mache, I would go to pick it up, I would feel its lightness. And when I put it down, I would leave its lightness there. And it would have given me the experience of lightness. Is that helpful for those of you who are confused? It may or may not be. This is the first time you conceived of this kind of thing. It could take time. The learning is in yourself, not in my words. So the weight is in the rock, and the weight of the discovery of that kind of weight is in me. Play with it. That's how you'll know it, by your own exploration. I'm going to put the rock back. I'll give another example over here. Is the organ model. That is telling me to move. I wasn't sure what to do. So if I want to lift it with my muscles, I can do it. That's good. But if I want to feel the weight of it, I feel the weight by hardly lifting it. And I transfer, this is heavy, by the way, for an old woman anyway. I transfer it into my body and into the earth. So I feel the weight of it. Then we could say vibration again. I've attuned to it. Where here, I'm not attuned to it. I go to lift it up, it's heavy. It's really heavy. But in consciousness, what is consciousness? That's a good question. What is consciousness? I can experience it. I attune to the weight of it so that I'm matching this weight in consciousness. It doesn't feel heavy because we're attuned. And if I go into the earth, I can throw it. Where here, I can hardly lift it with my muscles. This weight that I've attuned to, can I leave that weight here? I have it in my body, the resonance, but I leave the weight here in the model. So that I have a consciousness that this model exists in its own place. It doesn't exist only in an image in my mind. I imagine that there's something that I'm holding inside of me that has weight. Can I leave it in the model? Can we perceive of something in its own place through the weight of consciousness? In future classes, we're going to look more at nerves as well. But I wanted this first class to be, untangle myself, to be, how do we conceive of self, experience self, in terms of the weight of consciousness? And how do we perceive other in its own place? Whether it's a person, something that happened before, it has weight. Something that we expect to happen in the future. Are we worried about it? It didn't happen yet, but we're holding the weight of it here. Can the weight be where it is? And today, this moment, be where our weight is. Play a little bit more. Or just absorb. Because if you're interested in this, the experience lies in your own experience. And it's helpful if you share so that others can see they have a similar experience or an opposite experience or somewhere in between. Write your questions. I do read this at the end of the class. It takes me a couple of hours. Total pleasure to see your experience. And during the week, that half hour before we open, before starting, you could write there something longer maybe, for those especially who don't multi-focus so much. I think, Basha, we could have time for questions if anyone has a question. And meanwhile, continue to play with what's of interest to you, or just lie down and put a weight on your belly and breathe, or over your heart. What's in your heart that has weight, that you could then take the weight and put it outside of yourself. If you want to, or put a weight inside. Does anyone have a question? Otherwise, we'll just keep going.
We do have questions. The first one, what would you recommend doing when working with people for whom feeling the weight of their body is distressing, perhaps due to experience or trauma? And on the flip side of that, what would you recommend for people who feel so much weight that it's difficult for them to move or even initiate movement?
Those are questions that are so powerful. Not one answer. I'm going to give an answer, I'll give ideas, but when we feel the weight of something outside of ourselves, we can put it down. So I'm going to go back to my stone. I like stones. To play with weight of something else that feels pleasurable. Like Rosie was pleasurable. All of them are pleasurable, but there's something about this kind of weight that's very soothing to me. Other times, when you blow bubbles, that kind of weight is fun. So I've worked many, many decades with children, and sometimes we have water balloon fights. We throw them not at each other actually, but at rocks. We go outside and there are rocks. I like rocks, and throw the balloons, and the water splashes all over. Or the times there's something that could be broken that's not dangerous. Water balloons are not dangerous to break, where you just can really, they don't break that easily. You throw them against the ground, and it's so relieving to me and the kids when they break. And maybe we get wet. But taking this, so it could be I said that the air balloon, the bubbles, and then you poke them and you break them. So you have to break with it. I'm going to get so quiet you won't hear me. You break with lightness. So if something's too heavy, nothing has to. Attune to the weight. Attune to the weight. So is there a weight that could be comfortable? So we have that tiny bubble, we have water balloons, we have rocks, we have pebbles, a tiny pebble. Could you take a tiny pebble and drop it into water, see it splash? And just keep doing that and watch the circles. so that the weight, we can conceive of the weight of something. And we receive its quality, its expression. Can the person feel the weight of something? And the difference between a big heavy thing, a very light thing, or something that's almost the same, another rock, closing the eyes. Which one will I put down? This one. I put the weight down. I don't have it in my hand any longer. But I still have the weight of this one as though I had another one. So this hand is now, doesn't have weight. This one, if I had another rock in it, would still have the weight. Find a comfortable weight and play with either absorbing the weight or letting go of the weight. It's your experience playing, especially if you don't know something, and then you little by little get to know what it is, then somebody else can do the same thing in their way. Feeling the differences of weight, the differences in our body of weight, depression. How much weight is this depression? Let me get my book and see. Maybe this could be the weight. Or maybe it's too heavy. I need something lighter. Or it's not heavy enough. I add something to it. That's better. I move around with this weight. Then you might say, can I take away a little bit of the weight? Yeah, it's not quite so heavy. Maybe I don't want to carry all this weight anymore. So now I have the weight of something else, not so heavy. And then I can diminish that weight. Wow. I have lots of possibilities here of changing my consciousness of weight. What if I lay down and I put this on my belly and I breathe with the weight? I can attune to the weight. Or maybe I'm so light, I don't know, just. Then I start to feel weight to ground, the consciousness of weight. And the consciousness of weight internally, and the consciousness of weight externally, and we dialogue. What if that's a person? Do I experience you in your own weight? Or is it just my experience of you in myself? and your experience of me and yourself, boy, we're going to have problems. I don't agree with you, but I understand that's your place. And we have the right to disagree. It's probably one of our basic rights, because I disagree with a lot of things. I need that. I need that right. And when it's taken away, there's big problems. Not the right to hurt. I think that's a right. It's not a right. We do it unintentionally. But then perhaps find the weight of that. I suspect you have things I regret. So how much weight is my regret? Is it like this? And can I take that regret and say, it was the past. I learned not to do it again. I don't know if any of that's helpful, but play with it. It's not an answer. It's curiosity. It's love. Anyway, I think we have time for other people. I hope you're answering your response. It's not an answer. If we took away your question, I hope you didn't stop your questioning, but that it got more. Feed the question. Don't answer it. Feed it. Together, we can do a lot. One by one. Okay, Basha, I think we have time for another.
We do. The next question. You've used two words, consciousness and perception. When you're talking about consciousness, is that the same thing as perception, or is it different for you?
An ongoing question, right? Awareness, consciousness, mind. One of the explorations that I like, and we've done it in other courses here, is if you lift your arm, we would talk about weight. So weight, or moving it with something lighter. But how weight has degrees. Feeling the earth, feeling the heavens. But so that's talking about the weight of consciousness. What is consciousness? Question mark. So move. I hope this isn't a lecture. Move with me. So we're moving from our sense of weight. Now there's sense, our feeling, our sense. Endless. But what if our consciousness of space moves you? What does she mean about that? How can I move my body, feeling my body? And how does space move me? As though a great wind just came. So I can do it in my body, sense of body, and I can do it where I don't feel my body, where it's as though space moved me. how can my consciousness be in space to move me? The consciousness within my body and the space of my body is moving, and then the consciousness of the space outside of my body is moving me. In the one, I will feel weight. In the other one, only motion. Another way that I perceive all these different things, am I aware of the weight in my body? Am I aware of the space moving my body? Or we're in a group now, it's totally different kinds of groups than 3 years ago. But we'll be in, let's say, in one room, 100 people, 150 people, whatever, much smaller than this group, but it's much smaller space. And all of a sudden, the mind of the room changes. What happened? No answer, I hope. More questions. Philosophers, religions, asking these questions from the beginning of consciousness, or the beginning of, I don't know. And we have soul, we have spirit, many words. The question is, what do you experience? And how does that manifest in the languaging? And we have many languages represented here. And there are many more not represented here. No answer. More questions. I don't know if we have time for any more. We're coming to the end.
Yeah, we have time for a quick question and response. There have been quite a few questions that have come in about how one lets go of the weight, or how to feel the weight of something that we're not holding. Is this something that you're going to be covering in future classes, the neurological processes of this, or is it something you can speak to today?
I think this can be a question throughout. There are only 8 classes. But what I would like to do is to go to the anatomy of the nervous system, and through the anatomy, ask different questions, but not throwing any questions away. Because in order to experience the anatomy, to embody, there's another big word. We have to, that word is not relevant. How do we conceive of embodiment? How do we experience embodiment? There's some conception or some consciousness of weight, of space, of time. What is our memory, experienced memory of this hour and a half? How do we calibrate, especially Len and I turning 81, that's a big number. And memory is a big question. how do we perceive relationships of weight, space, and time? Holding, setting down, not holding. Did it happen decades ago, yesterday, 5 minutes ago? It's going to happen in the future. Is it happening now? How quick is something? How slow? What is the consciousness that experiences and measures? And the nervous system is a recording system that organizes. So we're blending the two in a few hours together. So you have homework, play, and enjoy. And don't answer, just keep questioning with more answers to questions. I'm so grateful. I was crying in the beginning and I want to laugh now. Love you. Be well. Thanks for coming. I'm happy to be back together again.
Thanks, everyone. Don't leave just yet. We've got a few announcements. Thank you so much for all of your questions. Although Bonnie isn't able to respond to them during class, she does read them after class. It brings her a lot of joy, and they do help her prepare for the next classes. If your questions weren't answered, or if you have more questions about the material, study groups are available to everyone who has registered for the spring series. These study groups are a wonderful way to deepen your understanding around the material that Bonnie presents, to ask more questions, to ask more personal questions, to interact and connect with other participants in a more intimate way. A lot of them are held in a meeting format, which means you get to see each other and interact directly. There are currently 16 study groups scheduled. Most are in English, but there are study groups in Spanish, Italian, Portuguese as well. Study groups are offered by licensed organizations, licensed to offer School for Body Mind Centering programs, and body mind centering professionals who have met specific educational and professional requirements, including graduating from a School for Body Mind Centering program. You can find a list of study groups on our 2023 Spring Series resources page in the study group sections. I will post a link to that in the chat in just a moment. We also include it in all of the emails that we send you. Let's see. This class is being recorded, and the recording will be made available to all participants of the 2023 Spring Series. The recording will be made available through online streaming on our website. Your registration includes unlimited lifetime access to the class recordings, so you can watch them as many times as you'd like, whenever you'd like. The Zoom chat from today will also be added to your accounts when the class recording is ready. It typically takes us 1 to 2 days to get that recording ready for you. We will send you an email when it is in your account, as well as how to access it. English language captions will be added to the video when we receive them from the captioning company. That typically takes about 4 days after the class recording is ready. The 2023 Spring Series resources page is a page that lists resources and important information for all participants of the series. It's where you can find information about accessing class recordings and materials if you forget, study groups, Zoom chat guidelines, how to hide the Zoom chat, as well as links to free resources, including supplementary videos on Bonnie's YouTube channel or her blog. Our emails sometimes go to spam or promotions folders rather than inboxes. So if you haven't, we will be sending more emails out now that the Spring Series has started. We send emails 24 hours before the class starts, 2 hours before the class starts. Those include your Zoom links for the classes. We send an email after class and then when the class recording is ready. So check your spam or promotions boxes if you don't see those emails from us. Registration for the spring series on perception as a key to embodying and repatterning the nervous system is still open. As I mentioned at the beginning of class, our Pay from the Heart scholarships have allowed more than 2,000 people to come to this course who otherwise would not be able to. We are keeping our Pay from the Heart scholarships open and are still accepting applications. We would like everyone who would like to study with Bonnie to be able to attend her 2023 spring series, regardless of financial situation. This is something that we've been able to do since the beginning of the pandemic. Please share this information with your communities. Everyone is welcome, regardless of financial situation. The scholarship offers people scholarship assistance based on whatever they're able to pay. Our scholarship, our Pay from the Heart scholarship, it has been a community project looking at how we can all support one another as individuals and as a community. If you would like to help support the registration of those who need the scholarship to attend the series, you can do so on our Support the Scholarship page on our website. We'll include a link to that in the email we send you later today. And that's it for class 1. Thank you so much for being with us. It was just such a pleasure to be with you again, to be back in these live classes. We're going to put some information on the screen, and you'd have just a little bit longer to communicate with each other and with Bonnie in the chats. We look forward to being with you again on March 30th. Take care.